Fire and Blood is a fantasy book by American writer George R.R. Martin and illustrated by Doug Wheatley. It tells the history of House Targaryen, the dynasty that ruled the Seven Kingdoms of Westeros, in the backstory of his series A Song of Ice and Fire. Although originally planned for publication after the completion of the series, Martin has revealed his intent to publish the history in 2 volumes as the material had grown too large. The first volume was released on November 20, 2018. The second half of this first volume has been adapted into the HBO series House of the Dragon, a prequel to Game of Thrones. Publication history. In 2014, more than 200,000 words were removed from the manuscript of Martin's companion book The World of Ice and Fire and were incorporated into Fire and Blood. In February 2017, Elio M. Garcia Jr., Martin's co-author for The World of Ice and Fire, reported that he had spoken with Martin at Worldcon 75, held in 2017 in Helsinki, about the first volume of Fire and Blood. According to Garcia, in addition to the never-published material developed for The World of Ice and Fire, Martin also created entirely new material for the book, having worked on just fleshing out a bit the long reign of King Jaehaerys I Targaryen, which was previously only mentioned in Heirs of the Dragon, an unpublished text that Martin abridged in the novelette The Rogue Prince. On July 22, 2017, Martin revealed on his blog that the material for Fire and Blood had grown so large that the decision had been made to publish the histories of the Targaryen kings in 2 volumes. The first volume, simply called Fire and Blood, is set to cover the history of Westeros from Aegon's conquest up to and through the regency of the boy king, Aegon III Targaryen. While the first volume of Fire and Blood has been published, the second volume was largely unwritten as of July 2017. In April 2018, when announcing the publication date, Martin revealed the manuscript to be 989 pages long. An excerpt was revealed in October 2018. Contents. Rather than a novel, Fire and Blood takes the form of a scholarly treatise about the Targaryen dynasty written by a historian within the world of A Song of Ice and Fire, Archmaester Gyldain. Gyldain cites a variety of fictional primary sources for the historical events he describes, whose accounts sometimes conflict with each other, reflecting medieval methods of historiography and thus making Gyldain an unreliable narrator from the reader's perspective. The first volume of Fire and Blood contains the following texts. The Targaryen Conquest, Aegon I Targaryen's Conquest of the Seven Kingdoms of Westeros. Published in more or less same version in The World of Ice and Fire. The Peace of the Dragon, Aegon I's reign after his conquest. While Aegon I's reign is briefly glossed over in The World of Ice and Fire, no parts of the text have been published before. The Sons of the Dragon focuses on the lives of Aegon I's sons, King Aenys I Targaryen and King Maegor I Targaryen, ending with Maegor's death and the ascension of Aenys's son Jaehaerys I Targaryen to the throne. An abridged version of The Sons of the Dragon was released in October 2017 titled The Sons of the Dragon in the anthology The Book of Swords. Heirs of the Dragon, being about 17,000 words long, it focuses on the reign of Jaehaerys I Targaryen and the succession crisis following the deaths of his sons. An abridged version, The Rogue Prince, previously published in the anthology Rogues in 2014, uses the majority of this text. The Dying of the Dragons, being about 60,000 words in length, it focuses on the great civil war known as the Dance of the Dragons, the Targaryen civil war between Rhaenyra Targaryen and her half-brother Aegon for the throne. An abridged version of 30,000 words was included in The Princess and the Queen, which was published in the anthology Dangerous Women in 2013. Aftermath: The Boy King and His Regents, covering the first few years of the reign of Rhaenyra's young son Aegon III, when the realm was ruled by Aegon's regents. According to Garcia, it is almost as long as the dying of the dragons in total word count. Fire and Blood is illustrated in a similar fashion to A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. The book contains more than 75 black and white illustrations by Doug Wheatley.